Hello guys, welcome to my last video of this series. So this is the multi-rarity weapon tier list, and now that we have the details, DPS comparison for each weapon, we can start working on our multi-rarity weapon tier list. Yes, this is only halfway of the tier list, but not all halfways need to take the same time to go through. Okay, so the summary is here. Intro. Then all rarities weapon attack table, then multi-rarity weapon tier list for hard chapters, and I also did one for multi-rarity weapon tier list for boss chapters. So this tier list will be a little bit harder to use, so I'll need to explain to you guys. It is fully packed with a lot of information, so yeah, I'll need to explain you guys how to use them. These are not simple weapon tier list, just so that you know. And then there is the very important final observations. Okay, let's get into it. Intro. I will go into super details from here on out, it's just too much rarity and weapon situations to work with. So, since there are so many situations to consider in this game, we can't make a multi-tier list for every single one of them, or I will die. So we need to focus on our objective and pick a situation. I will prioritize clearing hard chapters and boss chapters since most people are stuck on chapters and want to advance further in endless mode. So as you already know, Scythe is my top recommendation for clearing hard chapters, and Spear is my recommendation for boss chapters. So let's calculate how much your account needs so that you can try those weapons out instead of other weapons and see if you can clear it. Changing out weapons doesn't guarantee you to clear it, okay? If you are low on equipment, you still need some skill RNG and getting used to the weapon and so on. So, but it doesn't take that much gold to upgrade another weapon to test it out, especially if it is a lower rarity one. If you didn't like it, then you can always get the gold and scrolls back by fusing them with level 1 as another item. Do not ever dismantle it. It is not worth it. You will need those weapons legendary to get to ancient legendary. But as I always say, please do try to learn all weapons starter steps. It is very important. Scythe and Spear starter steps are the hardest one in this game, but once you learn it, you get so much bonus from it. You can always try out the weapon while farming in easier chapters without leveling them up to get the feel first. So, 2. Basic stat from each weapon's rarity. So, weapon attack stat per rarity, this one is I did with plus 30% from talent, but without any plus attack. Mine is 27 from other sources, so it might be close to your account, like only 30% from talent, because maybe you don't have all 30% from the talent, but some mixed of both of them. So there we go. These are the legends. C is for common, level 20 common. G is for level 25 great. R is for level 30 rare. E for level 40 epic. PE is for level 50 perfect epic. L is for level 60 legendary. AL is for level 80 ancient legendary. So here you go. Rarity CGREPELAL. And then the first column is current rarity. That is the amount of attack you get from that rarity. So common gives you plus 262 attack. And then the second column is versus one rarity below it. So great has 109 more damage or more attack than common. And there you go, this is the whole table. And then 3. Multi-rarity weapon tier list for hard chapters. Finally. So depth Scythe versus all percentage tables. So let me just put the depth Scythe versus all DPS comparison here. This is a 7th skill build for all weapons. Actually, the 7th skill is not important for this tier list. I just put it here to complete the percentage table. So it's because the tornado sucks using ricochet. That's why I had to put ricochet for others and rage for tornado. Just to complete the percentage table, it will not affect the tier list later on. Okay, so this is a 7 skill build, 1 multi-shot, 3 attack boost, 1 crit master for all of them. And then there's the divergence, 1 diagonal arrow for staff and 1 front arrow for others. And then remember that the staff here has a very volatile, very fragile, very unstable DPS because I didn't pick up a bouncy wall. If I picked up a bouncy wall, the DPS would just be lower than other weapons. Then 1 rage for tornado instead of 1 ricochet for others. Okay, so saw / tornadoes 3 values are, so there we go, only hitting the front, that's the most probable one, and that is equal to the saw blade. And then hitting both front and back to 1 enemy, that doesn't happen that often. And hitting both front and back to 2 enemies almost never happens. So this is the situation where I will use a rage for tornado and a ricochet for others, like that Scythe. So diagonal staff, 3 values. So the first one is hitting 1 out of 3 arrows, the second one is 2, and the third one is 3 out of 3 arrows. So spear's epic value is already at max stack. Then I'm using my crit stat because this benefits more bow and staff rather than depth Scythe and spear, and they still lose to depth Scythe. So either way, if your account is has lower crit stats than mine, then depth Scythe is even better for you. Okay, so the plus sign is when depth Scythe wins, and minus sign is for when it loses. So no epic depth Scythe versus all for my crit stats. And then there's a bow, no epic, then bow, epic, as you can see here. These are the percentage. I just took the DPS from my last table, like up here, and then as you can see here, depth Scythe has 16.76 when it is no epic. So I divided everything by 16 point, I used every single value to divide the 16.76. So I get this percentage here. So these are relative numbers. Okay, where is it? Okay, back to here. So no epic depth Scythe versus all. So as you can see, no epic depth Scythe versus no epic bow has plus 45% DPS or damage. Then versus epic one has 32. Then as you can see here, then epic depth Scythe versus all. So this is for this list, this tier list is for hard chapters. So it is versus mobs. And then so these are the numbers. That is just insane. Look at those numbers. Then you guys might remember from the intro video that if your account has 2000 attack without weapon, then a level 20 Grave Depth Scythe wins against an Ancient Legendary Saw Blade. But to make my life much easier, the maxed rarity difference that I will compare is 2 stages. but in return I will be calculating how much attack your account has to have without equipping a weapon, so that Death Scythes can win. So now let's build a tier list. So the question is here, x plus a times y equals to x plus b. So x is your account's attack without weapon, without counting weapon. So you take out your weapon and look how much your attack, how much attack your account has, and that's what we want to know. That's what I want to calculate here, so that you can compare these numbers to your account's attack. Y represents the value from the table above, so that's the percentage table. And then A and B represent the attack you gain from certain maxed level rarity. So for example, 2000, if your account has 2000 attack, it goes in the X. And then if it is let me see, if it is ancient legendary weapon, you use 2173 instead of B. And then if it is a legendary Death Scythe, you put 1487 in the place of A. And if you are comparing Death Scythe with a Bright Spear, no epic Bright Spear, so Y is 1.6027, as you can see here on the no epic spear. So that's it. Then Diagonal Staff is pretty complicated, since the DPS is tied with Death Scythe if all projectiles hit, but since Death Scythe wins in tons of other characteristics and usually at least one diagonal arrow misses, then I will use the second value from the table above. So 2 out of 3 hits will hit, and most of the time 2 out of 3 hits will miss instead of hit, and then like sometimes 3 will hit, so it is very complicated. I'll use 2 instead. So yeah, if you couldn't clear it, try it again, like with with staff. But since there are so many other characteristics that the Death Scythe wins, I think it is reasonable to put you miss 1 out of 3 arrows from diagonal staff. And then the tornado is pretty complicated too, since most of the time the back doesn't hit and it loses to Death Scythe in all characteristics. But I don't want to just put it as the same value as Saw Blade, so I'll use an average for all cases that will be epic and above. So that's the average from 140 to 42.5, and those are the numbers here, right? Epic and above. So as you can see, Saw Blade / Tornado 140.3 and 42.5. So then there are the other averages. So here we go, the multi-rarity weapon tier list for hard chapters complete. So wow, there's a lot of information here. So on the first column is the Death Scythe. As you can see, there's L versus AL, PE versus AL. So it is the legendary Death Scythe versus ancient legendary, and then you pick on the other 5 columns. So versus ancient legendary Saw Blade, you look at the first one, so it always wins. And then versus ancient legendary Tornado, it always wins too. Versus ancient legendary bow, it also always wins. And what does always wins means? It means that it doesn't matter how much attack your account has, Death Scythe will always have a higher DPS. So for legendary Death Scythe to win against an Ancient Legendary Spear, your account has to have 1,490 and 59 attack or more. That's from the first row. The first row. So at the end of the first row, the numbers you see here are the minimum attack so that Death Scythe can win. Like cannot not like win, can tie. So if your account has higher attack than the numbers here, then Death Scythe will win. So as you can see, the second row is Perfect Epic versus Ancient Legendary. So it depends on how much attack your account has, and so always wins, it doesn't depend. 104, so if your account has more than 104 attack, then Death Scythe will win. So there you go. That is it for that is it. So you can look at this. My docs, Google Docs, will finally be open for you guys since I finally finished it. Then, as you can see here, when Death Scythe loses its epic stat, the numbers rise up quite a lot. So instead of only 2,000 something for epic Death Scythe to win against ancient legendary diagonal staff, a rare Death Scythe needs 4,477 attack to win against a perfect epic diagonal staff. So and a rare or lower Death Scythe loses against an epic or above spear. As you can see here, always loses on the right side of the table. So then let me show you. Then later I'll show you how to use it. First, let's complete the second weapon tier list for boss chapters. So I did the same thing for as Death Scythe. Instead of using Death Scythe, I used the spear, because spear is my recommended weapon for boss chapters. So there we go. This is exact same things. Not exactly the same thing. Like for tornado, I didn't put hitting front and back to both enemies because that is kind of stupid. First, tornado cannot like it's so hard for tornado to hit front and back to both enemies, both bosses, and then usually there's only one boss. So then the diagonal staff, as always, 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3, 3 out of 3, and then epic spear's epic value is already at max, and also the diagonal staff from both of the cases are average, as you can see here, epic average on the table. So no epic spear versus everything. As you can see here, there's a lot of values that are negative, so Death Scythe, the spear is losing. It loses to Death Scythe, it loses to other things, even when they are no epic too. So then when it gets the spear gets the epic stat, then the thing changes. Plus 30% damage is a lot. So now most of the things are positive, so the spear wins. Then, as you guys can see, spear doesn't dominate this category as Death Scythe dominated the other category. So this tier list will be pretty rarity dependent. So now the tornadoes average are, so I picked up I made the new averages. Then here is the multi-rarity weapon tier list for boss chapters to complete. So as the last one, there's the always wins, there's the always loses, there's the most time loses, and then there's the numbers. So as you can see here, these numbers are fucking high. So my account doesn't have 7,500 attack. So if I had an Ancient Legendary Spear and only a Death Scythe, a Legendary Death Scythe, I would use a Legendary Death Scythe. No, wait. If I had a legendary spear and an ancient legendary death scythe, I would use an ancient legendary death scythe for bosses, because my account doesn't have more than 7,564 attack with when I don't have a weapon equipped. So these numbers are very high. So that's why I said that it will be more rarity dependent. Then there we go. You can always look at it again when I post it on the link in the description. So how to use these tables? So these are Death Scythe and Spear versus all tables. So when it says always wins or loses, it means Scythe, Spear always wins or loses, no matter how much your attack account has. 2. When it says most time loses, I meant by Staff's DPS being all over the place against different bosses. So I think it would be better to use Staff, even though it misses most of the time because of the rarity difference and attack differences. So, but there are some cases that the Staff can win, but I think it would, with so much difference in attack, Staff would be better in that cases. So that's why most time loses. And then the same actually applies to everything from the Staff column. Its DPS is just all over the place. Sometimes it misses everything, sometimes it misses 2/3 of the attack, sometimes it doesn't miss, sometimes it misses a third of the attack. That is so, like, you have to figure out yourself. Just try it out. Try like 5 times, and if you don't feel like it is hitting a lot, then change the weapon. Then 3. There is a number. When there is a number, it means that Death Scythe and Spear wins once your account has more attack than that amount when not equipped with a weapon. Yes, some of these attacks values are through the roof, but they still exist. So in the future, maybe they will add more things so that your attack can reach that level. But currently, that means if your attack is not that high, it means it will not win. So just change your weapon. So then, the higher the number means the closer the comparison is. So these tables are actually complete all versus all multi-rarity tier lists. These are not just Death Scythe versus all. It is all versus all multi-rarity tier lists. And using Death Scythe and using Spear as the reference. Do you understand me? So marking a reference and comparing it to the reference, you know how the others compare to each other too. That's how entropy is actually calculated. So let me show you an example. So let's say you have 3 options: rare, spear, rare staff, and common Death Scythe, and your account has only 500 attack. If you look at the table, you will see that common Death Scythe loses to both rare spear and rare staff. So let's go back here on the first table. On the on the second last row. So that common Death Scythe versus rare spear, that is the last column, and rare staff from the last from 671 and 852. So if your account has only 500 attack, then you know that the Death Scythe will lose to both of them. But which one is better to pick? So the better one to pick is 852. That is because Death Scythe would need more attack to surpass spear. So once your dive Scythe your account has 671 attack, then your dive Scythe will already surpass the staff, but it hasn't surpassed the spear. That's why this table is actually an all versus all multi-rarity weapon tier list. So the higher the number, the better. That's what that's the conclusion. The higher the number, better. So I showed you the example. So which one you should pick? The spear of staff. That's the spear, the one with higher number. Then always wins means 0 and always loses means infinity. So yeah, higher number better. Then between two always wins, pick the most to the right one, because I organized the table so that the number is always going up from the left to the right. So if there's two always wins next to each other, pick the right one. Okay, now very important final observations. Remember that we are limit testing dive Scythe versus spear's advantage over other weapons. So these are the limit where dive Scythe is equal to other weapons, and most of the time, because of RNG, because of skills, it is 50-50. So you don't know who will win. But so if you really want a comfortable advantage, then multiply these numbers on the table by 1.1 or 1.15. So if you're so if you want the dive Scythe, if you are not that comfortable with dive Scythe, then you want to have more damage, but not sacrifice so much on your comfort. Then go for when you multiply the table by 1.1 or 1.15. Then I think it is a sufficient amount of advantage for you to use it. And clear the chapters. So these numbers do not include attack speed. So they do not include how proficient you are in starter step with all weapons. I suggest you to learn dive Scythe and spear starter step before limit testing their potential. So these are the two hardest weapons to starter step. So remember, a max efficiency starter step makes all weapons have near the same attack speed. A good starter step makes all weapons have the same attack speed. And a bad starter step make dive Scythe and spear's DPS vanish. So check out my starter step guide for more details. So if you are not good starter stepping with dive Scythe and spear, please do not limit test it. Please learn the starter step first and then limit test it. So remember that there are two main ways of killing things. You can either outlive your enemies or outburst your enemies. Outliving is the easiest one. You focus all your mind into dodging everything, knowing that you will eventually kill all of them. Outbursting is the hardest one. You trade your safety for an insane burst DPS in order to kill as fast as possible. I won't go into details in the last video, but you gotta have balance for both of these ways to kill, especially in chapter 11 and above. Some weapons like bow of staff, tornado saw blade are very easy to use, so people usually can outlive enemies. But there are situations where you cannot outlive your enemies, especially when mobs start to pile up or other situations. I won't go into details. It is important to learn how to use weapons so that you can open up possibilities to outburst enemies too. So yeah, open up more possibilities for more playstyle to suit more situations of this game. Okay, so for hard chapters tier list, dive Scythe epic stat gains more value the harder the mobs are, and I did set the difficulty above average as the name suggests. So for dive Scythe to gain more value, you have to go to a harder map. So if you are not confident in your dodging skills, then only go for Death Scythe once your account has over 1.2 or the number of this table and use the next weapon in the list using the method I said earlier. So if you're not comfortable using Death Scythe, then go for 1.2 on the number. Then the Death Scythe, I think, will have sufficient DPS so that you, even though you are not comfortable, it is still easier to clear the chapter. Then for boss chapter tier list, as I said earlier, Spear doesn't dominate this category as Death Scythe does in the other category. So there will be a bunch of high numbers, wins or loses, and when this happens, remember that Spear practically never misses a shot, while all other weapons can miss, especially Tornado and Staff. The only way to figure out some of this comparison actually benefits you is just to learn the star steps and test them out yourself. So remember again, these are limit testings, are the limit where it gets very, very gray if one weapon is better than another or not. It will heavily depend on your star step proficiency. So yeah, but that's it. Finally 2 whole weeks of work. I know a new weapon is coming out next week and I will try my best to roll it. I know that I think it will not have a banner to get it as soon as it comes out. I will not waste all my chest and gems to try to get it if there is no banner, if there is no increased rate. But if there is an increased rate, you bet I will make a video on it rolling for the new equipments. Though I won't be able to buy more gems, all the gems that I have now are from daily quest and everything else, so I piled up about 2 months of gems. That's a lot. 2 months of gems. So okay, so thank you very much for watching, and may star step be with you. Yes, finally, that's it. You guys will be able to see the tier list. Any weapon, any questions, ask in the comments. I'll try to answer it. So any crap you want to throw at me, yeah, you can throw at me now. I think I can timestamps my playlist to you so that it can answer your questions. But that's it. There's the multi-rarity weapon tier list for hard chapters complete. Finally. Okay. So this is Darko Miko signing out. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.